Hi Nursery, I'm going to be reading Dinosaur Munch, which is all about this Diplodocus that had a really long neck and a really long tail. Look how long the dinosaur's tail is. Right, let's turn the page and see what happens. Now I love this bit because sometimes I struggle with my reading, so it shows adults how to sound things out. So this word, which is really big, I can break it up into Stegosaurus, and this word that's massive is a Parasaurolophus. Now down here, this is an iguanodon. And finally, there's a Compsognathus. So that's going to help me with my reading. So those are the dinosaurs, the 4 dinosaurs that are going to be in this story. Let's turn the page then. Can you see? The huge Diplodocus is called Dinosaur Munch. And I think I know why, because the dinosaur is eating lots. It's munching, that's another word for eating. Now, the huge dinosaur, called Dinosaur Munch, had a tummy that never felt full of lunch. So he had to keep on eating because he was always hungry. As long as 3 buses, so wow, that's really long. Imagine 1, 2, 3 buses. As long as 3 buses with tea tray sized feet. He always felt hungry and wanted to eat. Look, he's eating there. Let's turn the page. As soon as he'd eaten, he wanted some more, so he sucked up the leaves from the rainforest floor. Look, he's sucking them up, and that dinosaur looks a bit scared. Maybe that's because he thinks he's going to be eaten up too. But I do know that the Diplodocus, he didn't like eating meat. A meat-eating dinosaur was called a carnivore, but the Diplodocus wouldn't eat meat. He ate all the bushes above and beneath, so he's eating beneath, with a swish of his neck and his rows of huge teeth. Huge means really big. At breakfast time, Munch spotted Dinosaur Whack. The young Stegosaurus was eating a snack. Now, if you look here, Dinosaur Whack is a Stegosaurus, and I think they've called him Whack because they used to whack things with their tails, maybe to protect themselves. Before she could finish, Munch gobbled it all, but he was still starving. The meal was too small. At lunchtime, he dined on some cones from a pine. So the cones are those little brown cones, pine cones that come from the trees, the pine cones that come from the trees. At lunchtime, he dines on some cones from a pine. Dinosaur Honk thought, how dare he, they're mine. This is Dinosaur Honk, and it made a honking noise. And the Parasaurolophus honked in dismay. Dismay means when you are not happy. Honked in dismay as Dinosaur Munch kept on crunching away. He ate all the fern meant for Dinosaur Chew. It was all gone before the little iguanodon knew. Look, he looks really quite sad because he hasn't got any food to eat now. Chew was so hungry but tried not to mind. He guessed there was plenty of food he could find. The rest of the herbivores couldn't be sure. Now, a herbivore is the name of an animal or a dinosaur that only eats vegetarian food, only eats vegetables or things like grass. The rest of the herbivores couldn't be sure. Munch wanted more, and then more, and then more. He turned and he grabbed what he thought was a stick. Can you see this thing? He thinks this is a stick. But it's blue. What do you think this thing is? Let's have a guess. So we thought it was a stick. It looked ever so tasty and juicy and thick. Uh-oh! He gave it a nibble and let out a wail. Ow! It wasn't a stick. It was Munchie's long tail. Did you guess right? Did you predict that this thing that he thought was a stick, this blue stick, was not a stick? It was his tail. Oh, look, he bit his own tail. It wasn't a stick, it was Munch's long tail. Look, he looks very surprised. I think he's hurt himself. Let's see. And that is the end of our story. So if I turn over here, I love this bit of these books because at the front, they're a story. So these are our fiction books, but that's a fiction part of the story. But at the back, we have facts here. So that is non-fiction. We have facts here. So what are the facts? Let's read them. Diplodocus means double beam because of the special bones in the tail. That's really interesting. There's special bones in their tail. Now it says here, Diplodocus had an extremely long neck, just like a giraffe. And then what's this bit about these pictures? A Diplodocus had a row of short spines along the back. So look, it had these little spines, little spikes along its back. The Diplodocus had a tail. In fact, it had a long tail like a whip, like a whip. And then it also said, this is interesting, a Diplodocus had 5 toes on each foot, just like an elephant. Oh yes, that foot does just look just like an elephant's foot. And what's this one? Diplodocus was one of the longest dinosaurs, and we knew that because apparently a Diplodocus was as long as 3 buses. Now that is the end of our book, which was called Dinosaur Munch, about the Diplodocus. I do hope you enjoyed it.